I have a feeling in my pineal gland that this channel will be evolving quite soon. And by quite soon, just like any prediction from the pineal gland, it could be in like a year, but no, actually it is going to be quite soon because I have done something quite extreme. So I've started turning my phone off from 9 p.m. until 5 p.m. the next day. And it's strange that it's not like I'm getting more work done, but the nature of the work, the nature of the ideas, the work, the actions has changed a lot, quite profoundly. What I'm finding is that I'm probably catching up on sleep for the first thing I'm finding is that I'm probably catching up on sleep. Second thing is that I'm much more, it's like now that I've disengaged from the kind of energy exchange with a phone and notifications, I've become much more sensitive to energy output. And kind of like if you're chronically exposed to something and then you take distance from it and then you encounter it again, your body's like, no way am I gonna touch this again, and then it freaks out. That's kind of what is happening to me, where when I'm jacked up on phone energy, which is like looking at notifications a million times, checking email, checking this, checking that, it really pollutes the kind of energy output that goes into every other action. And especially in a creative context or in a making context, because a lot of what I do is physical making, I can go down these rabbit holes without course correcting and end up like a week later having done a lot of things, having made a lot of things, but they're kind of unusable. And I've justified it in the past by treating that kind of action as skill building, learning, which I think it was, because I think that's exactly the kind of energy that you need in skill building. You just have to do the same thing over and over and over again, which I did a lot of. But ever since this phone exercise, which has been going on now for a little bit over a week, I guess a week and a half so far, I find myself starting something and then sitting back and contemplating and really like making sure that it is connected to the deeper impulse, the deeper direction, the underlying grid that is structuring kind of my life purpose. I know that sounds huge, but it is. Like, purpose is huge. Purpose is something that unfolds, and when it does unfold, it's so obvious when it's part of it, and also so obvious when it isn't. But I think the sensitivity required to feel that obviousness is very muted in the way that we normally, bombard ourselves with stimulation. And the reason that I say the channel is going to change is because I have also, it was very intuitive for me to set up this channel, which again is like a journal. It's really not meant to be watched. It's more meant for me to know that I could be witnessed, and therefore there's this level of accountability in showing up to spin this wheel. But I realized that this practice could really be extended outwards and offered outwards to other people who could build their own wheel. And I also have learned through some very serendipitous research that this wheel system is not my invention. Like, I came up with it out of my own conclusions around decision fatigue and what it would take for me to show up for myself and engage in things that weren't, on the to-do list, but still meant a lot to me, actually mean so much to me. But I realized that throughout the ages, there have been devices that people have used to kind of trick themselves out of the control room of the mind and into a more kind of poetic and unpredictable relationship with themselves and with the world around them. And that's what this wheel is. It's a highly refined random machine, because the choices are limited to things that I've already identified as important, but I've outsourced the decision or the spin to a random number generator, which is also, I think, really important because I'm not doing it with my hand. I really wanted it to be something that was computer driven or out of my hands, let's say. So yeah, I've been playing around with the idea of how could this wheel be made accessible for others to use? And how can I also connect all the different parts of what I'm doing, like my painting practice and my clothing making and my deep thinking and this wheel thing, and start to see where they converge, even if it's like duplicating the wheel in different forms in parallel. Because really the funny thing about being in the design field is that you realize that design can kind of create this pretense of something being different, because certain people are attracted or activated by certain designs and design languages, whereas that same design language is not going to attract other types of people. And that's a very powerful thing to know and also play with. And my practices have very different design languages, but the core of them is actually the same. And there's something very profound about this sense of bringing in people through these different, very tuned design languages, only to have them transcend the design when they come to the core of the practice, which is also what I'm going through on a daily basis. And I want to share more of how I got here and what I'm doing and why, and also just literally the practice as I do it, as I engage in it. And yeah, it needs better explanation, because I'm sure what is going on here doesn't translate very well to what I'm saying on the video. But anyway, this video is a combination of kind of the preamble, which just happened, and the actual spinning of the wheel. So let us spin this MF wheel. Cool. Okay. So this is great because I know that like the days will go by and the Japan trip will come and I wouldn't have practiced anything, and now I'm gonna spend the next hour practicing Japanese. It'll be my first time ever practicing Japanese, so let's go. As always, I'll stop the recording now, I'll do my work, and then I'll come back with kind of a summary. All right, I'm back, and I put together a chart of the hiragana Japanese characters. And I did it with my non-dominant hand because I'm also working on being ambidextrous, more for like brain health, and because my left arm is way overused and I feel it kind of falling apart. So yeah, to kind of rebalance my body. So I did it all with the non-dominant hand. And then I also put in some of the hiragana that look really similar but have different pronunciations. And I think that's good for today. It took me about an hour. And yeah. Oh man. I'm just gonna end it here. I am feeling pretty tired. I've been waking up at like 5:30 in the morning. And yeah, I can feel myself kind of dying. So I'm gonna end it here. Peace.